Keeping Up with Jones, the Lonnie Jones podcast adventure. I am your host, Lonnie Jones. My wife Jackie and I moved to the city of Huntsville in 1986 for me to be a youth and family minister. I have been a minister since 1980. I have served in this community as a police chaplain assigned to a SWAT team since 1992, and I've been in private practice as a licensed professional counselor since 1998. I'm also an adventure educator and an avid outdoorsman. I dabble in rock climbing and I goof around with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Our life has been full of many wonderful experiences and some just outright adventures. I used to write about those things in a little church bulletin article. So now instead of asking you to read those things, we're just going to talk about them in our podcast. And as we talk about them, we're going to talk about the facts. The facts lead to concepts, and the concepts lead to application. One caveat about the facts is, for the most part, we're going to tell you the facts just as they happened. But every now and then, we're going to tell you the way other people have told us they remember it happening with a little bit of embellishment. It's all good, clean fun and for educational purposes. Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoy Keeping Up with Jones. Faulkner University announces a 60% tuition discount for members of the Church of Christ. Now, there are some guidelines. This 60% tuition reduction is applicable to adult undergraduate Bible degrees or graduate Bible degrees from the Curley Graduate School of Theology in the VP Black College of Biblical Studies. You must satisfy all admission requirements and maintain satisfactory academic progress. You must remain continuously enrolled, including summers, until the completion of the degree. You must provide a letter from an elder or minister, preferably on church letterhead, verifying that you're an active member of a Church of Christ congregation prior to your initial enrollment. This offer applies to adult undergraduate degrees such as biblical studies, youth and family ministry tracks, and it also includes graduate degrees. And those are the Master of Arts in Biblical Studies, the Master of Arts in Family Life Ministry, or a Master of Theology, and it also applies to the PhD in Biblical Studies. For undergraduate inquiries, please contact Adult Enrollment, 334-386-7140, 334-386-7140, or Adult Enrollment at Faulkner edu. That is Adult Enrollment at faulkner.edu. For graduate inquiries, please call 334-386-7539, 334-386-7539. Graduate enrollment at faulkner.edu. That is graduate enrollment at faulkner.edu. Faulkner University is a sponsor of Keeping Up with Jones, the Lonnie Jones podcast adventure. TKM Incorporated in Moss, Tennessee is a construction company that specializes in erosion control, seeding, and soil, hydroseeding, hydromulch, minor excavation, and silt fence. They also provide traffic control and construction signs. Their business is keeping people safe, but their passion, their mission, is they wish that all men could be saved. TKM has adopted the nickname the King's Men because as they serve you, they also serve the King. If they could provide any of their services for you, please contact them at 931-243-3958. That is 931-243-3958. Or you can contact them on the net at tkminc2001 at twlakes.net. That is tkminc2001 at twlakes.net. TKM Incorporated is a sponsor of Keeping Up with Jones, the Lonnie Jones podcast adventure. My senses were on high alert. Well, maybe not high alert, but they were alert. There was something really, really, really familiar and yet really, really, really strange about the place I was in. I was standing in this place, and I was surrounded by these really interesting rock formations, and I kind of wanted to climb. I didn't have my climbing gear with me. I was in regular blue jeans and a pair of Merrill shoes. I think I was in a pair of Chameleon 3s. It was all low angled stuff, but it was just really, really interesting. And I wanted to climb. Yet at the same time, there was something going off in my brain. And scientists would talk about, the front of your brain, the middle part of your brain, the back part of your brain. And they talk about that being the lizard part of your brain. Well, as it turns out, it was the lizard part of my brain. That's when it hit me. This is where I first saw the Gorn. Now, if you don't know what a Gorn is, make that your original lizard man. Not reptilian shapeshifter, but straight up humanoid lizard guy. And the lizard part of my brain said, this is exactly where I saw my very first Gorn. Now, at the time, I didn't know there was more than one Gorn. I didn't know there was a whole race of them. But in my first experience, there was just one. And he walked really, really slow with a lumbering gait. And I can still hear his raspy voice calling out, Captain Kirk. Make the distinction. This is not the conspiracy theory, planet controlling ruling class reptilian shapeshifter. And one does have to make that distinction, although I'm not sure how we got to the point where such a distinction has to be made. My first foray into reptilian shapeshifters was I was trying to do some research on a Brazilian jiu-jitsu counter. If somebody's behind you, they what's called the rear control position, and they're trying to do a choke from the back. If you can take the choking arm and slip it to the opposite side of your head, capture their arm and their head in this inverted Darce choke, I had come to find out or come to believe that this was called a reptilian shapeshifter. And I wanted to make sure that I had the name of the move right. And I Googled it. Please do not Google reptilian shapeshifter. All I got was pictures of Nancy Pelosi. Because you see, there's a group of people, conspiracy theorists, who believe that our world, our government is controlled by rodent-eating reptilian shapeshifters, reptiles who can take human form. But I digress. The Gorn is not a shapeshifter. The Gorn is just a humanoid reptilian species. And I'd seen one in this very place years ago. Now, I wasn't in the place when I saw it. I was sitting at home on my couch watching Star Trek when I saw it. Now, I'm here today, and I recognize the place because Jackie and I are visiting Vasquez Rocks. Vasquez Rocks is a natural formation near the Hollywood Studio Zone. It has become like a 900-acre park, and it's a super interesting piece of landscape. It was formed when the San Andreas Fault had a little hiccup and pushed all these rocks straight up, and it's been featured as a location. It has been featured many, many times as a location in the Star Trek franchise. Now, please remember what Star Trek says is where no man has gone before. Well, let me tell you that this particular place that is supposed to be in Star Trek where no man has gone before, there have been a lot of people there. There have been a lot of people before that. It was made famous by Tiburcio Vasquez in 1874. He was the most notorious of California's Mexican banditos, and he retreated there to escape from the law and basically gave it its name. But in addition to Vasquez himself, this place has been visited by the Gorn, the lizard people, by Vulcans, werewolves, Apaches, Marshall Matt Dillon, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, Bill and Ted, Austin Powers, MacGyver, Shrek the Lone Ranger, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Not a bad list of people for where no one has gone before. No wonder I was on edge. Every movie I'd seen as a kid had probably been filmed at Vasquez Rocks, and I could run into anybody out here. So I was on high alert. And not only that, as I looked at this place, I could be anywhere. See, not only has Vasquez Rocks hosted many, many different types of people and creatures, it has been many, many different places. It was used as a background setting and depicted as Tibet. It housed one of the battle scenes in Army of Darkness, the Planet of the Apes, colonial India, numerous alien landscapes, including that are specifically named in the Star Trek franchise, where no man has gone before. It's been the planet Vulcan. It's been Capella 4. It's been Lazarus's planet. It's been the Metron asteroid, and that's the actual place where Kirk and the Gorn had their battle. It's been used as the amusement park planet. If you've been to Vasquez Rocks, you've been to all these places. Talk about seen one, seen them all. I remember having a discussion with Dan Sutherland, and he described Mississippi as it's just like Thayer, Missouri, all blowed up. In Dan's mind, if you'd been to Mississippi, you'd been to Thayer, and if you've been to Thayer, you'd been to Mississippi. Well, if you've been to Vasquez Rocks, you've been to all those alien places. The actors, the directors, the stuntmen, the cameramen, all these people walked the exact same path from the parking lot to the rocks. They'd walk the exact same path and ended up in the exact same spot I was in. But in their minds, or at least in their representation, they had ended up in an entirely different place. To some, it was desert. To some, it was an escape. To some, it was a prison. To some, it was a place of peace. And to others, it was a battleground. And it really kind of depended on the writers and the actors and what was being filmed or represented or portrayed on any given day. On the particular day I was there, I was just a tourist. I was with my beautiful wife, and the whole place was outlaw, alien, and lizard man free. I learned a long time ago that it's not where we are, but rather how we are and how we view something, or even how we think about it, that determines our experience. It's how we act while we're there, not the fact that we're actually there. The Apostle Paul said, and it's been quoted, it's been on posters, it's been on tattoos, it's been on bracelets, it's been on t-shirts. The Apostle Paul said, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And that statement is not about summiting Everest or finishing some long endurance race. Paul was talking about the background, the setting where he found himself. He said he'd found himself in the background of being alone or being with people, with little or with much, being full or being hungry, being at peace or being in distress. I mean, it really didn't matter the setting, but in those different settings, he found that he could be content. He chose to act differently, even though he found himself in a place that someone else might define as different than he would. He chose to act differently. And I'm not talking about Hollywood acting, as in pretending, but I'm talking about using intentional actions. I'm not talking about denying reality or creating a false one, but simply seeing the desert as it is and using that setting, that backdrop, to accomplish a different purpose or simply to tell a different story. The stories portrayed at Vasquez Rocks are never about Vasquez Rocks. Nobody in a movie has ever called Vasquez Rocks Vasquez Rocks. Vasquez Rocks are used as a nameless backdrop of the many different stories and adventures that are portrayed happening there. You see, my surgeries aren't my story. They are part of the background of my story. Cancer, divorce, death, loss, job, unemployment, wealth, poverty, fear, anxiety, grief can be your story, or they can just be part of the setting where your story takes place, or the setting as your story takes place. The setting does not define who we are. The setting is simply about where we are, what state we happen to find ourselves in. You might find that lots of people have been exactly where you are. In fact, in most cases, it's not that you're the only person who's ever been there. You're not the only person who's ever been through there. You're not the only person who's ever ended up there. But even though they are others who have been to and ended up in the exact same place, even though you're not at a place where no one has gone before, look around you at the people who found themselves there, ended up there, going through there, And look at how they handled it. You see, you're not the only person who's been there. And the other people who have been there, winning or losing, success or failure, number one, they chose to see it differently. That determined their behaviors. Number two, they chose to act differently. They chose to act out a different script. They chose not to let the background define who they are. It was just simply where they were. And it's very, very important to keep in mind that you are not the only person who has been there. You're not the only person who has gone there before. It's not that no one has gone before. It's not that you're the only person there. But you're the only person who gets to choose how you write the ending of where you are. Where no one has gone before is not the important part, because we all probably ended up at some of the same places. But I'm the only one who gets to determine how it ends. Using the tool of shortwave radio, World Christian Broadcasting literally covers the world every day with the gospel. They use 2 large curtain antennas. One is located in Anchor Point, Alaska, and the other in Madagascar. They send out messages that are recorded at their international home in Franklin, Tennessee. They make available 40 hours of broadcast every day. The broadcasts are made in English, Chinese, Russian, Spanish, Portuguese, Korean, English for Africa, and Arabic. They would love for your group to visit them. You can bring your ladies group, your youth group, or your men's group. Just give them a call at 615-371-8707, 615-371-8707, or you can go to worldchristian.org, find the Donate Here button, and make a financial contribution to support this work that literally covers the world every day with the gospel. World Christian Broadcasting, in cooperation with Keeping Up with Jones, the Lonnie Jones podcast adventure.